Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so you never miss out on our amazing videos. And if you enjoy today's topic, please remember to like, share, and drop a comment with your own experience. We love hearing from you. Let's dive into the topic. In the history of marketing and business, few stories capture the drama, irony, and emotional intensity of failure quite like the tale of New Coke in 1985. It is not just a story about soda. It is a story about pride, tradition, identity, and the power of a single mistake to shake an entire nation. To truly understand the magnitude of this epic fail, we have to step back into the world of Coca-Cola before the disaster, when it wasn't just a soft drink, but a cultural symbol of America itself. For nearly 100 years, Coca-Cola had been more than a beverage. It was part of American life, woven into everything from family barbecues to war stories. Soldiers carried it overseas. Children drank it at baseball games. Couples shared it at diners. Coca-Cola was branded as the real thing, and for decades, no other drink could touch its dominance. Its red logo was instantly recognizable around the world. It wasn't just a drink, it was a piece of Americana. But by the 1970s and 1980s, something was changing. A competitor was rising fast: Pepsi. Pepsi understood that younger consumers didn't just want a drink. They wanted an identity. Their advertisements were full of music, celebrities, energy, and rebellion. With campaigns like The Choice of a New Generation and the Pepsi Generation, Pepsi positioned itself as the drink of youth, excitement, and modern culture. And then came the famous Pepsi Challenge. In shopping malls across the United States, people were invited to take blind taste tests between Coca-Cola and Pepsi. To the horror of Coca-Cola executives, the results were consistent. Many people preferred Pepsi's sweeter taste. The results played on national television, showing everyday people smiling after choosing Pepsi over Coke. For Coca-Cola, it wasn't just a loss in a taste test. It was a threat to their empire. Inside Coca-Cola's Atlanta headquarters, executives began to panic. Their market share was slipping, Pepsi was gaining ground, and for the first time in history, Coke's dominance felt unstable. Something drastic had to be done. And so, after years of research, testing, and secret meetings, Coca-Cola made a bold decision that would change history. They would alter the sacred formula of Coca-Cola itself. Think about that. The recipe that had been guarded since 1886, the formula that built the most recognized brand in the world, was about to be changed. It was a shocking decision, but the executives believed it was necessary. They thought, if Pepsi is winning because it's sweeter, let's make Coke sweeter too. And so, the New Coke project was born. The research behind New Coke seemed solid. Over 200,000 taste tests were conducted. The sweeter, smoother formula consistently beat both Pepsi and Old Coke in blind trials. Coca-Cola executives were confident they had the solution. They weren't just matching Pepsi, they were surpassing it. On April 23, 1985, they proudly announced the launch of New Coke, accompanied by the slogan, "The best just got better." It was a historic moment. For the first time in nearly a century, Coca-Cola was abandoning its original recipe in favor of something new. At first, things seemed promising. People who tried New Coke in blind tests liked it. The media buzzed with curiosity, stores stocked the new cans, and Coca-Cola's leadership smiled with confidence. But within days, a storm was brewing. People didn't just buy Coke for the taste, they bought it for what it represented. Coke was comfort, tradition, and memory. It was family picnics, first dates, and childhood summers. When customers realized that the original formula was gone, not replaced temporarily, not adjusted, but gone forever, they were outraged. The backlash was immediate and explosive. Coca-Cola's headquarters was flooded with complaints. At the peak of the outrage, they received more than 8,000 angry calls every single day. Protest groups formed with names like Old Cola Drinkers of America. Some consumers began hoarding the original formula, storing cases of Coca-Cola in basements and garages as though preparing for an apocalypse. People drove across states in search of the last remaining cans of the old Coke. Newspapers ran headlines about the public's fury. Talk shows mocked the decision nightly. Even politicians weighed in, with one senator famously comparing Coca-Cola's change to tearing down the American flag. The drama was surreal. People who would never normally protest over a product suddenly found themselves deeply emotional over a can of soda. One woman even told reporters, "They can take away my husband. They can take away my children. But they better not take away my Coca-Cola." That line captured the intensity of the situation perfectly. To many Americans, Coca-Cola wasn't just a drink. It was a piece of their identity. The anger was so widespread that lawsuits were filed. In Seattle, a man sued Coca-Cola for the emotional distress caused by the disappearance of the old formula. Comedians joked that Coca-Cola had done something even the Soviet Union couldn't do: unify Americans in outrage. Within weeks, Coca-Cola realized that their grand strategy had turned into a full-blown disaster. The company scrambled to manage the crisis, but nothing worked. The louder Coca-Cola insisted that new Coke was better, the angrier people became. Loyalty wasn't about sweetness, it was about tradition, nostalgia, and trust. And Coca-Cola had broken that trust. The backlash grew so intense that within just 79 days, not even 3 months, Coca-Cola executives were forced to admit defeat. On July 11, 1985, they held a press conference and announced the return of the original formula. But now, it had a new name: Coca-Cola Classic. The response was overwhelming. People cheered in the streets. Stores couldn't keep Coca-Cola Classic on the shelves. The same consumers who had been furious with the company just weeks before now showered it with gratitude. Thank you letters poured in by the thousands. It was as if the return of Coca-Cola Classic restored something deeply personal that had been stolen.